It's the 1980s, and America is in the throes of the Cola Wars. On one side you have Coca-Cola, the undisputed king of soft drinks for nearly a century. On the other, you have Pepsi, the scrappy underdog with a secret weapon, the Pepsi Challenge. In blind taste tests across the country, consumers are consistently choosing Pepsi over Coke. The results are shocking, and they're sending shockwaves through Coca-Cola's Atlanta headquarters. For the first time in its history, Coca-Cola is scared, and when you're scared, you make mistakes, big mistakes. In 1985, Coca-Cola made a decision that would go down in history as one of the biggest marketing blunders of all time. They decided to change their 99-year-old secret formula. They called it New Coke, and they were sure it would be a hit. After all, it tasted more like Pepsi, and that's what people wanted, right? Wrong. So wrong. To understand why Coca-Cola made such a catastrophic mistake, we need to go back to the 1970s. For decades, Coke had been more than just a drink. It was an American icon. It was the drink of GIs in World War II, the symbol of post-war prosperity, and the taste of home for millions. But by the 1970s, a new generation was coming of age, and they didn't have the same emotional attachment to Coke. They were the Pepsi generation, and they were looking for something new, something different. Pepsi, with its sweeter taste and hipper image, was perfectly positioned to capture this new market. The Pepsi Challenge was a stroke of marketing genius. It was simple, it was effective, and it was devastating to Coca-Cola. By taking the challenge to the streets and showing real people choosing Pepsi over Coke, Pepsi created a narrative of superiority that was impossible to ignore. Coca-Cola's market share began to erode. By the early 1980s, Pepsi was outselling Coke in supermarkets. The king was wounded, and the challenger was closing in for the kill. Inside Coca-Cola, panic was setting in. The company's executives, led by CEO Roberto Goizueta, were convinced that the problem was the product itself. They believed that Coke's taste, which had been a closely guarded secret for nearly a century, was now a liability. So, they did the unthinkable. They decided to change the formula. They spent millions of dollars on research and development, conducting over 200,000 taste tests to create a new, sweeter, lighter Coke that would beat Pepsi in blind taste tests. On April 23, 1985, Coca-Cola held a press conference to announce the launch of New Coke. The company was so confident in its new product that it discontinued the original formula. It was a bold, audacious move, and it was a complete and utter disaster. The backlash was immediate and intense. Coca-Cola's headquarters was flooded with angry phone calls, so many that they had to hire psychiatrists to listen to them. People weren't just disappointed, they were outraged. They felt betrayed. They felt like a part of their childhood had been stolen from them. The story of New Coke is the story of a corporate giant that completely misread its customers. Coca-Cola thought it was selling a product. What it was really selling was an emotion, a memory, a piece of Americana. And when it tried to change that, the people fought back. There were protests, boycotts, and even a black market for the original Coke. One man in Texas spent $1,000 to buy up all the old Coke he could find. Another man in Seattle started a group called Old Cola Drinkers of America and sued Coca-Cola to bring back the original formula. For 79 days, Coca-Cola held its ground, but the pressure was relentless. The company's stock price was falling, its sales were plummeting, and its brand image was in tatters. Finally, on July 11, 1985, Coca-Cola surrendered. In a televised press conference, the company announced that it was bringing back the original formula as Coca-Cola Classic. The news was met with widespread celebration. It was a victory for the people, a testament to the power of consumer loyalty, and a lesson that some things are too sacred to change. The New Coke fiasco is now a classic case study in marketing schools around the world. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of ignoring your customers, the importance of brand loyalty, and the power of emotion in marketing. But it's also a story about redemption. By admitting its mistake and bringing back the original formula, Coca-Cola turned a disaster into a marketing victory. The return of Coca-Cola Classic was a cultural event, and it solidified Coke's place as an American icon for a new generation. So, what can we learn from the New Coke story? First, don't mess with the classic. Second, listen to your customers. And third, never underestimate the power of nostalgia, because sometimes the best new thing is the thing you had all along.